Hello, everybody. It's me, Carmine DeStefano, your bookman, here with a little bit of a review because there's been a lot going on the internet involving this particular console. I have never seen this much vitriol over a launch date before in my life, and I've been around a very long time. But I just wanted to clear some things up because I hope that I can be a voice of reason that you all, whoever amongst you in this planet that can actually get notified that I post these videos after all these years, almost 2 decades I've been posting videos on YouTube on this here particular channel. And as you can see, I'm still a small channel. Now it's still just me, but at the same time, you'd think at some point, especially since I was a partner at one stage of the game or another here on YouTube, they'd promote me once in a while, but instead, you're probably getting swamped by so many people giving you their take or their personal opinions, which typically are under some form of agenda. But I would like to give you a real mature concept that I hope so many of you can trust. So this is the way it is. The Switch 2 from Nintendo was launched last week with a whole ton of titles. Tons, really, of titles, and a few new ones that you can't play on the Switch 1. And I can tell you, as somebody that's been doing this for a very long time, playing video games in general, whatever, this is the best console I've ever had. I'm not even saying that with any hesitation. I'm not saying that because I'm a corporate Nintendo shill. Nintendo ain't paying my bills. So I'm saying this as somebody who is both attempting to be considered a legitimate artist and somebody that is trying to be an entertainer and someone that knows a little bit about both, especially when it comes to entertainment. And really, Nintendo is the only company we have left in the video game industry, aside from maybe Capcom and perhaps, I don't even want to say Konami, definitely Tecmo. Tecmo is really, they make some good games. Suda51's another one that makes some good games. CD Projekt Red, which is a game right here. They're the company that made this beaut known as Cyberpunk 2077. There are a few companies that still understand they're there to make video games. And what that means is you have to have some game to play, an object, really, a purpose behind what you do. And the mechanics at this point with these very advanced controllers that we have with so many buttons and everything might want to elicit a little bit more input than pressing the same few toggles here and there and mashing the same 3 or 4 different colored buttons or whatever shapes or whatever you have on your controllers. There needs to be a little bit more intimacy in some of these games, and in that case, you would get a better chance to change up the mechanics, give you something new. You know, so many games that I played on PlayStation and Xbox, and I had the PlayStations from 1 to 4. I've had the Xboxes since the original one to the 1. And well, Microsoft doesn't really have any exclusives, and Sony's exclusives are all the same. You put it on and you know what you're doing. But with the Switch 2 and with Nintendo, they changed things up. And even though the last few games that I've played in the last couple of years on the Switch 1 by Nintendo exclusively were games that I was Tears of the Kingdom I was kind of disappointed in, but not really, because of the fact that I was expecting that kind of Zelda game. Then when I played Echoes of Wisdom, I loved it because it was a legitimate Zelda game with new mechanics. They try new things, which is what Nintendo does. Mario and Luigi Brothership I thought was great until the last 10 hours, so I guess I can complain that there was too much game. But the things that you can always be assured of when Nintendo releases a title, and pretty much when Nintendo releases a console, is that it will be mechanically spot on, it'll be polished, it'll be complete. You won't have to wait for a day one patch of like 50 hours. Like this particular game got launched as a complete disaster. You never get that from Nintendo, ever. And you're going to have a good time. And that's really what it comes down to. With the Switch 2, the Switch 1 was my favorite console, because of the fact that it had an expansive library. It had so many different companies making third parties, independents, and whatever for it, so you can get a different taste of different games and give you more reason to come back to it. And of course, the Nintendo exclusives themselves. I also thought that the console, from the docked version anyway, was a lot more powerful than people wanted to give it credit for, and did play some pretty cutting edge modern day AAA titles, virtually, I don't want to say exactly like that, obviously it wasn't exactly, I'm talking about docked, not portable, I'm saying docked. But their versions did keep up with it if the company was willing to do the work. And now you have a console that, when docked, competes with all the big boys. 120 frames per second, 4K, you name it. I mean, this right here is not the best version of this game. If you watch it on my television, you're blown away. And that's the thing. The graphics are really clean, really smooth. It runs like butter. The sound is incredible, especially when you play games optimized for the Switch 2 when it's docked. The controls, the two Joy-Cons together, run really well. I'm not getting any left Joy-Con drift, which I did on the first Switch that I had. So it's a souped-up Switch 1 with all the games that I had on the Switch 1. I easily imported seamlessly, no problem. Downloaded it to a database the night before I got the Switch 2. Turned on the Switch 2, logged in, boom, there were my games. They were all getting downloaded, the ones that I had on my home page on the Switch 1. And every game that I once downloaded, I could download again. It was no problem whatsoever. So it's, from my experience, completely backwards compatible. I'm not sure what SD cards you'll be able to play on them. I do know that Xenoblade Chronicles X, you can play on it, but I had to trade in to get Donkey Kong Bonanza pre-ordered in full. Other than that, I would have definitely kept it. I'm playing Darkest Dungeon 2 tonight with Kingdoms. I play Overwatch 2, especially with my friends got from Suplex Music. And every single game that I play on it from the Switch 1, it looks so much better. And I'm not even talking about Civilization 7, the enhanced version, which is the PC version right there in front of you. I'm talking about every one of the older games that didn't get enhanced updates, which Nintendo announced that if you do get the online service that I got, you know, the membership plus whatever, not only do you get all those games for free or for $49.99 for the year if you're doing it for yourself, but you also get the GameCube games, which at this point there are only two. There is Wind Waker, which is pretty damn good, and there's Soul Calibur, which I've never played a Soul Calibur game, so I'm kind of invested in the idea of trying it out. I mean, I'm playing Street Fighter 6, and on the Switch 2, it runs great, it looks great. I played online, it's tremendous. I want to go back to the classic controls, and I think I changed them because, my God, the new ones are just atrocious. But whatever the case, every game that I've played, whether it's a new one or an old one, it looks and runs so much better. So it's a Switch 1, just more souped up, and with certain titles from other companies that are third-party companies that I have some faith in, like From Software and the ones I've named before. These games are now coming out on the Switch 2. So as it stands right now, we don't really have all the details as to what we're about to get. The idea that Metroid Prime 4, which will be on the Switch 1 as well, and Donkey Kong Bonanza, those two games alone as exclusives, I'm really looking forward to. I've already played with the Joy-Cons as mice, or at least one of them. It's quick, it's smooth, there's no stutter, it happens right away, and you see the little arrow and you're moving it around. It's very responsive. The motion controls are responsive. Guys, this is the best gaming experience I've had pretty much ever. I mean, aside from as an adult, as an old curmudgeon in my dotage, I can tell you from my recent memory, this is the best experience I've had playing video games. We're not talking about when I was a kid and the idea of playing a video game was, oh, I gotta play a game. We're talking about as mature individuals that need more out of life than just jumping and running. This is without a doubt the best console. And sorry to say this as well, but a couple of times I accidentally dropped my console. It still works perfectly fine because this is Nintendo, which created a portable known as the Game Boy that survived a fucking bomb. So yeah, Nintendo hardware is a lot sturdier. I know people have been talking about how the left Joy-Con drift on the Switch 2 is an embarrassment. I know people have been saying stuff about the pricing of games and everything. I can get into that, as well as the hypocrisy of these more popular channels, including the most popular and influential channels involving all this. But as of this video, I'm just telling you right now, folks, look, you do what you want to do, okay? As I said, Nintendo doesn't cover anything for me. Nintendo probably doesn't even know I exist outside my Nintendo Power magazine subscription from years ago, and the fact that I'm always signing up for newsletters about when the Switch 2 is going to be released. But I'm telling you as a fact, from what I've seen in other consoles and what I've experienced other consoles, this is the best gaming experience I've had in so many different ways. So that's up to you. You do what you want with that. If you haven't gotten a Switch 2 yet, or you want to get a Switch 2, or you're not interested or whatever, you take my words for whatever you want to take them for, if you can get notified that I've even posted this video. But I'm telling you, for anyone that is listening to me, that has heard me, this is by far the best console I've ever had. We're going to see how this plays out. We're going to see how things go from here. But as it stands now, there's a lot to look forward to, even for a very grouchy old man like me that doesn't like anything anymore. I am enjoying myself thus far. And thank you all for watching. I have more for you soon to come. So stay tuned, take care, and have a great day.